Okay, so I do want to say a quick spoiler warning for a show, the BBC's Merlin. I talk about Venom: The Last Dance. That's extremely important. I talk about Planet of the Apes, specifically War of the Planet of the Apes. But, quick spoiler warning if you've not seen any of those shows, movies, and you don't want a spoiler, this is the only warning you get. I would suggest you click off now. Love ya. So if you clicked on this video, you know why you're here. And yes, I mean what I said. I hate Hollywood endings. And when I say Hollywood endings, I mean when writers and producers don't know how to end a franchise or a show even, so they decide to kill off a main character. Like, for example, there was a show on a long time ago, on BBC. It was called Merlin. Now, Merlin followed this trend. Planet of the Apes also followed this trend. And the new Venom movie, spoiler alert, followed this trend. Plus so many more movies and TV shows end this way. Is there no one that would like to see an open ending or a hopeful ending? Just because the content is fantastical or action of the action genre doesn't mean a main character needs to die. It's overplayed and it's predictable. There are so many ways to end a series or a franchise, and all you need is
imagination.
For example, Merlin. That show could have ended so many different ways. And yes, I know about them having money problems, about them being cut off. It still could have ended in a lot of different ways. That still leaves hope for Camelot's future. One ending could have been Arthur sick or poisoned. And the show, cheesily ends up with Merlin leaving Camelot to find a solution and saying, I will save you. That leaves hope for the characters' futures. It leaves hope for Camelot's future. Another ending could have been Arthur finding out about Merlin's powers, magic, and Morgana or another kingdom storming the gates of Camelot, with Arthur and Merlin both side by side, and they could be smirking or they can have a look of concern and say, for Camelot, to each other as the fight begins and the show ends, once again leaving both hope for the characters and for the future, but knowing there will be more battles to come. But Arthur and Merlin were meant to save the world, and in some way, they should have left that to be a possibility. They were meant to change the world, to make it better for everybody, and they should have left that as a possibility, even if we never got to see that possibility become a thing on camera. For Planet of the Apes. Now, for Caesar's story in Planet of the Apes, his ending fit the story for what they were going for. That doesn't make it any less of a Hollywood ending, but it fit. There are no true victors in war, and Caesar's death, along with the death of his family, but the survival of the apes, portrays that concept and the sacrifice of leadership very well. He dies in the war for the Planet of the Apes because there is no victor in war. With that being said, it's still a Hollywood ending. He didn't have to die. He could have given his leadership role to his son or a friend that's been there since the beginning and decided to be a part of the community he spent his adult life protecting. An ending can be meaningful without the promise of death. Again, last warning, spoilers for Venom: The Last Dance. The entire plot of this movie is that either Venom or Eddie had to die. To which I would say, why do either of them have to die at all? They had a blank page and could have formed at least 50 different endings or plots in general for this movie, and all they came up with is death. It's true that death means the end of the road, of the story, of life itself, but fiction is meant to be imaginative and different. And to me, death feels cheap at this point. There are other ways to end a story, a series, or a franchise. It's like writers forget life is just as important as death is. Just as hope is as important as hopelessness is to a story. There are many movies and shows that end this way unnecessarily, and so many stories full of cliches and lacking imagination. But what I will say to end this off is, if you are a aspiring writer or a writer today, don't forget that death is not pointless. Nor is it an easy plot device, nor should it be an easy plot device. Death always means something, just as life does.